Chapter 341, 208, A Cup Ointment opens. Divine Plant Cult occupies Shanghai City. The daughter of the Dean of Evolution College has just defected to Tianren Pavilion. Lu Chuanyu arranged for her to be under Song Yuan's guidance, letting Song Yuan initiate her into the fold before he eagerly left the Research Institute for the Evolution Tower. He wasn't broad-minded, and now he was itching to go and taunt Ma Zhenhe. Song Yuan was aware of his thoughts and watched his retreating figure, saying somewhat speechlessly, "The Dean too, no matter how grown-up he is, he's still so petty." After speaking, she looked at Ma Ziwei with a smiling face and said in an especially cordial voice, "Wai Wei, what's your full name?" "Ma Ziwei, the Xi of morning light and the way of a gentle breeze," responded Ma Ziwei in a somewhat cold voice. "It sounds beautiful. Dean Ma has a real knack for names." As she spoke, Song Yuan took Ma Ziwei's hand with the warmth of an elder sister next door, saying affectionately, "From now on, you can call me Yan Ji just like Zi Chen and Han Han." "Okay, I understand, Yan Ji. Come, I'll take you on a tour of the Research Institute to familiarize yourself with the environment. After the tour, I'll show you the research findings of the pure-blood human path, so you can get a preliminary understanding. In a couple of days, I will start teaching you the blood tempering technique." "Thank you for the trouble, Yan Ji." After a brief conversation, the two quickly began to tour the Research Institute. Once they had walked far away, Shen Qinghan quietly leaned into Lin Zikin's ear and said, "Did you see that? Yan Ji just took Wai Wei's hand directly. I feel like there's something off about Yan Ji's sexual orientation." Lin Zikin thought it was not a big deal, she just likes to be close to pretty girls. To say her sexual orientation is off is not quite right, I just saw her drooling over the male actor in a web series a few days ago. "Do you think Yan Ji could be bisexual?" Shen Qinghan asked. Lin Zikin replied, "I'm not sure about that." In the blink of an eye, more than half a month had passed. This morning, after finishing breakfast, Lin Zikin was body refining on the balcony with Shen Qinghan. At almost 11 a.m., he made a breakthrough. Lin Zikin's progress in body refining went from 4 times body tempering great accomplishment to 5 times body tempering achievement, successfully refining his body to the perfection realm. More accurately, it was refining the blood tempering technique to the perfection realm. The perfection of the blood tempering technique did not equate to the perfection of the body. Wu. Lin Zikin slowly opened his eyes and emitted a deep exhalation. A touch of satisfaction appeared on his face as he said, "Finally, 5 times body tempering great accomplishment." At this moment, he could clearly feel that the qi blood inside his body had become incredibly rich, on par with a high-level 4th-order genetic integrator. Before, to instantly kill Zhou Suihong, he needed to throw a punch from a distance. Now, he felt he didn't even need to move his hand, just with a thought, he could suppress Zhou Suihong to the ground, immobilizing him with the biological pressure emitted from his body. That was fast, it took less than a year to perfect the blood tempering technique. Shen Qinghan opened her eyes, her pretty face filled with excitement as she continued. "If the Dean and Yan Ji find out, they'll definitely be so shocked they'd doubt their existence." Lin Zikin said with a smile, "Those two got used to being shocked by me a long time ago. I guess knowing that I've achieved 5 times body tempering great accomplishment now wouldn't elicit much of a reaction." Shen Qinghan's excited expression tempered somewhat as she spoke worriedly, "You're evolving too fast. I feel like I'll never be able to catch up with you in this lifetime." Lin Zikin responded, "You talk as if you're slow, you just started practicing the blood tempering technique not long ago, and you've already achieved 3 times body tempering great accomplishment, aren't you content?" Shen Qinghan had achieved 3 times body tempering great accomplishment the previous week, evolving to the ordinary 9th order, on par with the other 3 from Tianren Pavilion. This speed of evolution was akin to riding a rocket. It would make anyone envious. "Easy for you to say." Shen Qinghan pouted and complained, the progress of my body refining is so exaggerated in its shortcomings. Others reach ordinary ninth order with one body tempering great accomplishment, and I have to go through 3 to reach the same level. It's not even comparable. Lin Zikin addressed her, that's the wrong attitude. You can't always aim too high and overlook reality, you need to take it step by step, slowly and steadily. I don't want to, I like aiming high, Shen Qinghan said as she stood up, sat down on Lin Zikin's lap, wrapped her arms around his neck, her eyes resolute as she declared, I'm not comparing myself to someone else, only to you. I want to keep close on your heels, never falling behind. Lin Zikin felt a subtle stirring in his heart upon hearing Shen Qinghan's words. He collected himself, kissed her on the lips gently, and said in a tender voice, we will always move forward together, neither of us falling behind the other. Yes, we can definitely do it, Shen Qinghan replied. After finishing her sentence, Shen Qinghan leaned in to kiss Lin Zikin, embracing him on the balcony. As Lin Zikin kissed her, feeling aroused, his hands began to wander restlessly over Shen Qinghan's body, causing her to occasionally moan softly. Stop, I'm going to pee. What's there to fear, if you pee we'll just change trousers. An enticing moan rose as the two became intensely locked in embrace once again, undeterred by the possibility of mechanically modified humans occasionally flying overhead. In the afternoon, after having lunch, Lin Zikin sat on the couch flicking through news on his phone. Not long after, out of habit, he opened the school app to check the credit shop, curious if any new exotic beast meat was listed. Having scanned the selection, he didn't find any new exotic beast meat. Only the very routine offerings of ferocious great eagle meat, living dead slug meat, phantom squid meat, and so on. No surprises there. Just as Lin Zikin was about to exit the shop, his sharp eyes caught a glimpse of the much-desired dimension rat meat in the top-selling products section. It had been listed just 1 minute before. There was more than 100 pounds of it. Chapter 342, 208, A Cup Ointment opens. Divine Plant Cult occupies Shanghai City, _2. He didn't think much of it and immediately placed the order, not leaving even a pound behind. After placing the order, Lin Zikin murmured. The last 2 times they only put out a little over 10 pounds for sale, but this time there's so much. Did they raid a dimension rat's nest, or what? What kind of raiding? Shen Qinghan, who was watching a drama nearby, overheard his murmuring and curiously looked up to ask. Lin Zikin explained, no, I just saw that the credit shop suddenly listed a lot of dimension rat meat, and I wondered if they had raided a dimension rat's nest. Oh, I see. Having said that, Shen Qinghan lowered her head to continue watching her drama. 4:30 in the afternoon. The dimension rat meat he had ordered hours earlier was delivered to his door. There was a total of 104 pounds. Lin Zikin opened the package, took out 15 pounds to freeze in the refrigerator, and swallowed the remaining 89 pounds with a single thought. You have consumed a significant amount of the Dimension Rat's life origin. Dimension Rat album, 100%. The moment the textual information appeared, an image gradually emerged in the void of a beast that looked a bit like a squirrel, only about the size of a palm of a hand. Lin Zikin recognized at once that this was a Dimension Rat. At that moment, the Dimension Rat was standing on a strange tree glowing red and swiftly picking exotic fruits that were about the size of apples. 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 30. Over 100. The Dimension Rat crammed the picked exotic fruits into its mouth, stuffing in over 100 in just a few minutes. Its mouth, seemingly only large enough to hold a single exotic fruit, was capable of fitting so many in such a short time. Quite magical. It gave the impression of having a black hole in its mouth that could swallow everything. Soon, the image in the void began to fade. In its place, 2 pieces of textual prompt information popped up. You have successfully opened the Dimension Rat album and gained the biometric attribute storage space. Storage space, hidden within your sea of consciousness is a storage space. With just a thought, you can store objects inside or retrieve them. Not bad at all. Upon opening the Dimension Rat album, I actually gained a biometric attribute related to storage. And when storing things, I don't have to unsightly stuff them into my mouth. Just with a thought, I can hide things in my sea of consciousness. Thinking this, Linziken, with a thought, smoothly entered the storage space hidden within his sea of consciousness. The space was large. It was about 10 cubic meters in size. Practically any large piece of furniture could fit inside. Linziken looked around and quickly began to test the functions of storing and retrieving items. With a thought, he stored his phone inside, then with another, he retrieved it. The operation was especially smooth, without any pauses or discomfort. In the next half hour, Linziken took everything he could see in the room and stored and retrieved it all at least once. The whole process was incredibly smooth and very convenient. The only downside was that it could only store inanimate objects, not living ones. Several mosquitoes he put inside immediately died on the spot, not living a second longer. And the instant he put them there, the consumption of spiritual power was so high it made him feel a bit dizzy. Speaking of which, can I take an enemy and store them in the storage space and let them just drop dead? Linziken suddenly came up with this idea. But he quickly dismissed this whimsical thought. Just storing a mosquito drained so much spiritual power that it made him dizzy. If he were to capture an enemy and put them inside, he worried that before the enemy died in the storage space, he might have already died from excessive spiritual power exhaustion. Linzi, what would you like to eat for dinner? I'll make it for you. Shen Qinghan came over from the balcony. She had just been practicing body refining there, striving for the great accomplishment of the fourth body refining. Seeing her walking over with a slight pant, Linziken suddenly felt playful, and patting the seat next to him, he said, "Come over here, sit next to me, and I'll show you a magic trick." "What kind of magic trick?" Shen Qinghan obediently took a seat next to him, asking expectantly. "Linziken, I can make something disappear into thin air." "Really? Can you really do something that amazing?" "Yeah, I'll show you right now." "Quick, show me your trick." As she spoke, Shen Qinghan intently watched Linziken, trying to catch any slip-up in his magic performance. She didn't believe Linziken could truly make something vanish into thin air and was convinced it must be sleight of hand. If she concentrated, she might be able to spot a flaw. "I'm going to start now." "Go on then. Remember, don't blink." As Linziken spoke, he gently laid his hand on Shen Qinghan's thigh and slowly moved up, sliding under her skirt. Shen Qinghan didn't pay attention to the hand creeping under her skirt, her eyes were fixed on Linziken's other hand. Her appearance might seem somewhat naive, but she was anything but foolish. She thought Linziken placing his hand under her skirt must be a ploy to divert her attention. She couldn't be fooled by such a trivial trick. A few seconds later, Linziken withdrew his hand from under her skirt with a smile. "There, the magic's done." "What, it's done?" Shen Qinghan was a bit confused, asking with a puzzled face, "What did you change?" "I didn't see anything." Linziken prompted, "Don't you feel a chill somewhere?" "Chill?" Shen Qinghan scrunched up her delicate and attractive eyebrows and started to pay close attention to her body. Suddenly, she felt a cool breeze down there and exclaimed in disbelief, Where did my underwear go?" As soon as she finished speaking, she hurriedly began to look around, trying to find the underwear that should have been on her body. However, after a long search around the sofa, under the table, and even Linziken's person, she found no sign of her underwear. Shocked, she turned to Linziken and asked, "How on earth did you manage to make my underwear disappear without a trace? How did you do it? What's your guess?" "How could I guess that? Just tell me the answer already." Shen Qinghan pleaded while playfully clinging to Linziken's arm. Linziken couldn't withstand her whiny, coquettish voice and quickly spilled the beans, revealing the secret of the magic trick he had just performed. The principle of the trick was simple: tuck the underwear into a storage space. After learning that Lin Zikin had a 10 cubic meter storage space, Shen Qinghan was completely astonished. Then, she said with envy, "I wish I had such a big storage space too. That way, I wouldn't need to carry luggage when I go out. Just stuff everything into the storage space." Lin Zikin returned the underwear he had just taken out of the storage space and said, "What's there to envy? What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. You can use this storage space whenever you want." "That's easy to say, but there are times when you won't be around, and I won't be able to use your storage space then," Shen Qinghan responded. Lin Zikin pinched her cheek and said with a gentle smile, "No worries, from now on, wherever I go, I'll take you with me. That way, you'll always have access to my storage space. Then it's settled, from now on, you're not allowed to leave me behind and go off on your own," she declared. "Since the day I was born, I've always stuck close to you, and that won't change in the future either." And so, the two of them sat on the couch and chatted for a while. Soon after, Shen Qinghan went out to buy groceries, making dinner for Lin Zikin. Lin Zikin didn't accompany her. Instead, he stayed at home to work on opening his acupoints. After several attempts, he found it was getting difficult to open them. This was due to achieving body tempering great accomplishment 5 times. The more often body tempering is done, the stronger the physical body becomes, making the acupoints more stable and harder to open. However, Lin Zikin was unconcerned. The A-cup ointment he had been persistently assaulting was already loosened. Now a bit more stable, it didn't prevent him from breaking through soon. He reckoned it would happen within the next few days. Meanwhile, in Origin Land, within a colossal ancient forest castle, a nearly 5-meter-tall three-eyed giant said, "Sect Hierarch, Lin Zikin has been gaining a lot of momentum lately, and many people are now leaning towards the pure-blood human path blah blah blah." The man in the 5-leaf clover mask replied, "It doesn't matter. The pure-blood human path has too high a demand for physical talent, whether it be Lin Zikin, Song Yuan, or even Lu Juanwu. Their talents are exceptional and won't be easy to promote on a large scale, so they won't affect our plans. We just need to continue researching genetic fusion, further lower the integration threshold, and make more people into genetic integrators." The three-eyed giant said, "Over on Earth, the Great Elder is already prepared and can launch an onslaught on Shanghai City at any time." The man in the 5-leaf clover mask ordered, "Arrange immediately for attacks on the Origin Land strongholds in Zhuzhou, cooperating with the Great Elder to take over Shanghai City. P.S. Bowing down, begging for monthly passes and recommendation tickets." Chapter 343, 209, Opening Apertures. Evolve into a high-level creature. The next morning, Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan finished their breakfast and headed to the research institute. Upon arrival, Lu Juanwu had not returned all night. Song Yuan was still sleeping. Only Ma Ziwei, who had joined just a few days ago, was earnestly reviewing documents about the pure-blood human path in the living area. "Good morning, Ziwei." Shen Qinghan greeted her with a smile. Ma Ziwei looked up at the two people who had entered, and politely replied, "Morning." That was the extent of their conversation. Afterwards, they each busied themselves with their own tasks. Without disturbing each other, Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan found a spot with good air circulation and sat down. The former was working on opening apertures. The latter was engaged in body refining. As for Ma Ziwei, she continued to review documents about the pure-blood human path. Ma Ziwei actually had many questions about the pure-blood human path she wanted to ask Lin Zikin or Shen Qinghan. But seeing that both had already started their cultivation sitting down, she didn't disturb them. Half an hour later, Song Yuan woke up. This mixed-race lady, nearly 30, came out of her room in a loose nightgown, her hair messy, heading for the bathroom. As she walked, the curves of her upper body swayed noticeably, very eye-catching. Clearly, she was not wearing a bra. Upon seeing this, Shen Qinghan hurriedly shifted her position to block Lin Zikin's view so he wouldn't see Song Yuan. Song Yuan's figure was too explosive, she was afraid Lin Zikin would explode if he looked too much. Another half-hour passed. Lu Chuanwu returned. The robust elder came back looking utterly worn out, as though he had been drained dry by a sexually insatiable woman the previous night. And walking beside him, Yuan Dongji, looked radiant and full of vigor, like drought-stricken land rejuvenated by rain. Clearly, the sexually insatiable woman from last night was Yuan Dongji. Since the research institute had no shortage of funds, Lu Chuanwu rarely went out to see his old flames. He basically stayed with Yuan Dongji all the time. Often seen together at the research institute. It looked like they were considering remarriage. Lin Zikin first glanced at Lu Chuanwu, who looked as if he was about to keel over from exhaustion, then at Yuan Dongji, who was wearing a cheongsam showing off her long legs, and couldn't help but reflect. It seems Principal Yuan is quite a bit fiercer than the director's old flames, she's nearly drained the director dry. Maybe the cheongsam increases attack speed, making the director's kidneys overdraw. I should ask King Han to wear a cheongsam tonight back at the dorm, for a pleasing sight. While Lin Zikin was distracted by such thoughts, Yuan Dongji looked at him, her tone 3 parts cold and 7 parts gentle as she asked, Zi Chen, why do I feel like the qi blood in you has become a lot more vigorous? From the moment he entered, she had sensed an extremely full qi blood power from Lin Zikin. So full, it seemed about to burst forth. It was hard to believe that this was just a 19-year-old college freshman. Before Lin Zikin could respond, Shen Qinghan proudly interjected, Master, Xiao Chen reached body tempering great accomplishment 5 times yesterday, and his qi blood strength has increased another level. 5 times body tempering great accomplishment. Lu Chuanwu suddenly opened his eyes wide and exclaimed. The previously exhausted man suddenly perked up upon hearing that Lin Zikin had reached body tempering great accomplishment 5 times. Lin Zikin nodded, yes, I've achieved body tempering great accomplishment 5 times. Lu Chuanwu found it almost unbelievable and couldn't help but exclaim, you've only practiced the blood tempering technique for less than a year, and you've already achieved body tempering great accomplishment 5 times? Your physical talent is too exaggerated. Yuan Dongji also added, indeed, an extraordinary talent. As she said this, her attention was fixed on the qi blood strength within Lin Zikin. Her thoughts raced. Zi Chen's physique is so formidable, it must be both enduring and extremely explosive. I wonder how King Han, with her delicate and easily toppled frame, manages to withstand it. She must have been made to cry quite a few times. Yuan Dongji, who had battled intensely all night, now had a mind filled with lewd thoughts. Sensing the surge of qi blood in Lin Zikin, her thoughts immediately ventured towards sexual lovemaking. Meanwhile, Ma Ziwei, overhearing the conversation, felt a mix of emotions. Half a year ago at the start of school, she had looked down on Lin Zikin from her high perch, thinking he was crazy to pursue the pure-blood human path. Now, just half a year later, the tables had completely turned. Lin Zikin had become an existence she could no longer reach. And she herself had also embarked on the once scorned pure-blood human path. It really was full of dramatic irony. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Suddenly, Yuan Dongji's cell phone rang. She took it out and saw that it was a call from the vice-governor. Not the one responsible for managing the origin land, Ye Yongsheng, but another woman who supervised Earth's administration. The woman, named Xiao Yu, like Ye Yongsheng, was a legendary level expert who had lived for over 1,000 years. Yuan Dongji didn't think twice and quickly answered the call in front of everyone. After all, they were not outsiders. As soon as the call connected, the other end immediately transmitted a vigorous female voice. Dongji. The origin land has suddenly suffered a large-scale attack. Immediately summoned Shan University and the staff at Nanjiang Province Education Headquarters with a high-level biological level, organize them to defend at entrances 34, 35 and 36 of the origin land. All genetic integrators must enter the origin land to defend, while mechanically modified humans must be ready outside the entrances, prepared for any breaches by origin land creatures. Yuan Dongji's phone volume was very high, and everyone present heard the Vice-Governor Xiao's words. Chapter 344, 209, Opening Apertures. Evolve into a high-level creature, _2. Then, without exception, all their faces slightly changed, feeling very sudden. Especially Yuan Dongji, her eyebrows immediately knit tightly together, and her facial expression looked extremely ugly. As a rare-level fighter, she had entered the origin land many times over the years and was acutely aware of what a massive attack signified. The most recent massive attack was 15 years ago. At that time, she had been stuck at high-level 9th order for decades, unable to evolve. In order to evolve into a rare-level creature, she gave up the secure job arranged by her family and chose to join the team resisting the attacks. That attack lasted a full 3 years. During those 3 years, she fought and killed enemies, gaining a vast amount of evolution resources, and fulfilling her wish to evolve into a rare-level creature. Moreover, she evolved directly to rare 2nd order. She climbed 2 levels at once. However, not everyone was as lucky as she was. Most people involved in that battle ultimately met death. The former director of the education headquarters of Nanjiang Province. The former principal of Shanghai University. Even the former patriarch of the Hai family in capital city, an epic-level expert who had lived for hundreds of years. Without exception, they all perished in that large-scale defensive battle. I need to leave for a bit, you guys talk. With only that, Yuan Dongji hastily left the research institute. Watching Yuan Dongji's departing figure, Lu Chuanwu called out with a worried expression, "Dongji, you must be careful." "All right." Yuan Dongji responded tersely. Before her voice had completely faded, she had already disappeared from everyone's sight. Principal Yuan is so powerful, she definitely won't run into trouble." Seeing Lu Chuanwu worried sick, Song Yuan spoke up to comfort him. Lu Chuanwu nodded, yes, with her strength, she should be just fine. That being said, his heart was still filled with overwhelming worry, feeling pessimistic about Yuan Dongji leading a team down to the origin land. He was aware of the massive attack from 15 years ago. He knew just how dangerous the origin land could be. In this light, a rare-level expert who could dominate a region on Earth would amount to no more than a slightly larger ant in the origin land, where beasts abounded and demons roamed. Once they stepped out of mankind's stronghold in the origin land, they would be at risk of perishing at any time. "Xiao Chen, do you think those terrifying creatures in the origin land could really make it over to Earth?" Shen Qinghan, grasping Lin Zikan's hand, said with eyes full of worry. Lin Zikan, in turn, held her small hand and confidently stated, "They won't make it over. If it were that easy, Earth would have been overrun a long time ago." "That's true too." Shen Qinghan breathed a sigh of relief. However, standing beside her, Lin Zikan felt quite the opposite. At this moment, he appeared calm on the outside, but inside, his heart was extremely heavy. The rat plague in Sakura Sea country that he had seen on TV as a child was still vivid in his memory to this day. Under the onslaught of countless giant mutant rats, a metropolis with nearly 10 million people was instantly reduced to ruins. The people of Sakura Sea country were mostly turned into food for the giant mutant rats, resulting in extremely heavy casualties. If it weren't for the timely deployment of experts from various countries back then, Sakura Sea country might not even exist on the map anymore. Lin Zikan worried that the land he lived on now might face the same kind of catastrophe Sakura Sea country had experienced. That terrifying rat plague from the past, even just thinking about it now filled him with despair. "I hope it's just me worrying over nothing," Lin Zikan thought to himself. That afternoon, The Director of Academic Affairs of Shanghai University announced that for the coming period, the inner campus would suspend classes indefinitely, and all students were to study on their own. Afterwards, all faculty and staff members of the school with a biological level of high level or higher left the school before nightfall, boarding one military helicopter after another. They divided into 3 groups, flying towards 3 different directions, corresponding to entrances of origin lands number 34, 35, and 36. For a time, the whole inner campus was abuzz with discussion. Almost all the students were speculating what could have happened to cause the school to suddenly declare an indefinite suspension of classes. And for a large number of teachers and school leaders to board military helicopters and leave the school without a trace. In the dormitory living room, Lin Zikin glanced at his phone. Every group chat was discussing how the school suddenly announced an indefinite suspension and then teachers and school leaders left one after another. I opened the school forum. Every post was also talking about this. Glancing at Weibo's trending searches, it's still the same topic. This time, the officials weren't suppressing the heat of the topic, instead, they let the public discuss freely. Lin Zikin frowned slightly, feeling some unease. When the officials no longer cover up an incident but choose to let the public discuss it, it often means they are likely to make it public. And the reason for going public is often because the incident can no longer be concealed. A large-scale biotic attack on human strongholds from the origin land. If officials feel they can't keep it under wraps, there's only one scenario. The officials lack confidence in securing the origin land entrances, and it is highly probable that creatures from the origin land will break through into Earth. At this thought, Lin Zikin suddenly felt an immense pressure. He hurriedly put down his smartphone. He immersed himself fully in the task of breaking through the acupoints. If a catastrophe truly were to come, he, a mere ordinary level creature, would be completely incapable of stopping it. All he could do was to break through the acupoints as soon as possible, evolve into a high-level creature, and gain more ability to protect himself. Lin Zi, what do you want to eat tonight? Shen Qinghan, who had just finished tempering her body, walked over and asked leisurely. Lin Zikin, without even opening his eyes, continued to strike at his acupoints, saying, I feel like I can break through the acupoints tonight. I'll skip eating for now. If you're hungry, go ahead and eat first. Then I'm not eating either. Shen Qinghan said and sat down beside him, joining Lin Zikin to strike at the acupoints. She had just finished tempering her body and was somewhat hungry, wanting to eat something. But seeing Lin Zikin not eating, she lost her appetite as well. She thought about striking the acupoints together with him and then eating together after he had broken through. Just like that. The two sat quietly in the living room, fully focused on striking at their acupoints. From 3 in the afternoon, they continued without stopping until 8 at night. After a straight 5 hours, Lin Zikin felt very tired, his head dizzy, almost on the verge of losing consciousness. However, the A-cup ointment he was striking was also loosening, feeling like it could be broken through at any moment. Because of this, Lin Zikin could only persist, until the A-cup ointment was broken through. Shen Qinghan was doing the same. At this moment, she felt as if her heart might stop from the impact. Several times her vision darkened, and she nearly collapsed. Seeing that Lin Zikin was still persevering, she also clenched her teeth and persisted, not wanting to fall too far behind him. As time ticked by second, unknowingly, it was already 9 in the evening. Lin Zikin felt horrible, nearly unable to hold on. His brain kept sending messages. Stop! Stop now! There's no need to rush this moment. You can try again tomorrow. Lin Zikin ignored these messages, continuing to persist in striking the A-cup ointment. 9 shallow and 1 deep. He kept on hammering fiercely. When the clock struck 9:09 p.m. Suddenly, Lin Zikin opened his eyes wide. A look of excitement on his face, I've broken through. At the same time, Shen Qinghan also shouted excitedly, Xiao Chen, I've broken through. Both of them broke through the A-cup ointment located at the heart at the same time. In that moment, neither had the mind to share their joy. Instead, they calmed their emotions in tacit agreement, quietly concentrating to feel their own bodies. They wanted to see what was different after breaking through the acupoints. Lin Zikan earnestly sensed his body and could distinctly feel that the flow rate of his qi blood had become faster. More than twice as fast as when he was at ordinary 9th order. Feeling the pressure of his life force, he saw that it was now close to high-level 4th order. P.S. Bowing down, seeking monthly pass and recommendation tickets. Chapter 345, 210. Unsealing the woman in the bronze ancient coffin. Name, Lin Zikan. Age, 19. Biological level, high level, 4th order. Biometric attributes, use it or lose it, Tianren wisdom root, survival of the fittest, blessing of melting water, natural selection, eye of the sky, social animal, natural camouflage, danger perception, rapid self-healing, immunity to 100 poisons, advanced spirit, forest lord, storage space. Body refining, tempering skin, 5, tempering flesh, 5, bone tempering, 5. Opening apertures, heart aperture, 1, brain aperture, 0, body aperture, 0. Lin Zikan called up his character panel and glanced over the data for each attribute. His biological level had evolved to high level 4th order. But both his qi blood strength and spiritual strength hadn't improved at all. So is the so-called opening apertures just unlocking the upper limit of the biological level? Isn't this too insignificant? Lin Zikan slightly furrowed his brow, feeling somewhat disappointed. While he was disappointed, suddenly, he sensed that something in his body seemed a bit different. His heart was different. Its blood pumping power had improved by about 10% compared to before the aperture opening. There was no change in the total amount of qi blood in his body, but the blood pumping power of the heart had been enhanced. This meant that the instantaneous explosive power of his qi blood had been strengthened to a certain extent. There are a total of 366 acupoints. Among them, heart aperture has 122. Brain aperture has 122. Body aperture has 122. By opening one heart aperture, the explosive power of qi blood increases by 10%. Then by opening 122 heart apertures, calculating by 1.1 to the 122nd power, the enhancement of the qi blood explosive power breaks through the sky. More than 100,000 times over. A punch with 100,000 times the power, even gods couldn't withstand it. Besides, there are still brain aperture and body aperture. Without any accidents. Opening the brain aperture would mean an increase in the explosive power of the spirit. And opening the body aperture would mean a strengthening of the physical body. 100,000 times the explosive power of qi blood. 100,000 times the explosive power of the spirit. 100,000 times the strength of the physical body. Just thinking about it is terrifyingly powerful. It's not an exaggeration to say gods block kill gods, Buddhas block kill Buddhas. Lin Zi, my biological level has evolved to high level 1st order, but there's no significant change in my spiritual strength or qi blood strength. It's just a slight increase in the blood pumping power of my heart. Shen Qinghan said, opening her clear, peach blossom eyes slowly after sensing the changes within herself. Having said that, she looked curiously at Lin Zikan and asked, "What about you, do you feel anything special with your body?" Lin Zikan, I'm the same as you, no significant changes in spiritual strength or qi blood strength, just a slight increase in the heart's blood pumping power, but my biological level directly evolved to high level 4th order. How much? High level 4th order. You evolved 4 levels at once. Yes. That's amazing. For a moment, Shen Qinghan didn't know whether to be happy or to feel bad. Lin Zikan evolving 4 levels at once was undoubtedly a joyful event for her. But on second thought, she had worked so hard for so long, her biological level had finally caught up with Lin Zikin, they were both ordinary ninth order. And now, in the blink of an eye, she was 3 levels behind again, the gap was huge. She really felt she was being completely left behind. There was no hope to catch up. No. How could I think like this? Being left behind is being left behind, I shouldn't feel bad about it. At times like this, I should be wholeheartedly happy for Xiao Chen. I'm already amazing, it's just that I'm not as good as Xiao Chen. Besides, Xiao Chen is mine, his greatness is my greatness, I shouldn't force myself to keep up with his pace, I just need to be better than the vast majority of people. Yes, that's right. Shen Qinghan conducted a round of self-consolation. The feeling of discomfort that was originally there eased up immediately. Only happiness remained, no more discomfort. Lin Zi, we really are fated, even our acupoints opened at the same time, we are a match made in heaven. Shen Qinghan leaned into Lin Zikin's embrace, her voice soft as she hugged him and spoke affectionately. Lin Zikin gently stroked her hair and smiled tenderly, yes, we are a match made in heaven. After dinner that night, Lin Zikin and Shen Qinghan didn't rest, they headed straight to the research institute. They wanted to share the good news that they had successfully opened their acupoints and evolved from pure-blood humans to high-level creatures face-to-face with Lu Juanwu and Song Yuan. When the two arrived at the institute, Lu Juanwu and Song Yuan were in their respective rooms, attempting to open their acupoints. Ma Ziwei wasn't there, she only came to the institute during the day and wouldn't come in the evening. Lin Zikin called Lu Juanwu and Song Yuan out. He informed them that he and Shen Qinghan had just successfully opened their acupoints. The moment they succeeded in opening their apertures, they broke free from the shackles of ordinary beings as pure-blood humans and evolved into high-level creatures. One at high-level 4th order, and the other at high-level 1st order. Upon hearing this, both Lu Juanwu and Song Yuan were shocked. They both knew Lin Zikin was bound to evolve into a high-level creature, but they did not expect him to go straight to high-level 4th order. To directly leap from ordinary 9th order to high-level 4th order, 4 levels at once, what kind of cheat-like evolution was this? It was outrageous. Shen Qinghan also shocked them both. Neither of them thought that Shen Qinghan would be able to open her acupoints on the same day as Lin Zikin. Keep in mind, Shen Qinghan joined the institute halfway through. For her to catch up to Lin Zikin's progress was truly incredible. Zi Chen, little brother, Han Han, sister, you two are just too absurd, aren't you? When I was in Capital City taking the college entrance exam, I was the second top scorer, known as the Genius Beauty, but compared to you two, I might as well be a disabled person being harshly rubbed against the ground. Chapter 346, 210. Unsealing the woman in the bronze ancient coffin _2. Ah, really, comparing oneself to others will only make one feel dead inside. Song Yuan sighed with envy. Shen Qinghan offered words of comfort, not at all, Yuan. You're talented, have a great figure, and are beautiful. Countless girls envy you, and so many boys look up to you. Haha, Han Han, such a sweet talker you are. Come on, let big sister Yuan have a taste to see if it's really that sweet. Song Yuan said this as she moved to kiss Shen Qinghan's lips. Shen Qinghan was stunned for a moment before quickly stepping back a little. Then, with a forced smile, she said, Yuan, don't joke around with me. I'm thin-skinned, I'll get embarrassed. Song Yuan stopped, her light blue eyes curving into a smile, I'm just teasing you. Your little mouth is only for Zi Chen to kiss, Yuan understands. She wasn't joking, though. If Shen Qinghan hadn't stepped back just then, she really would have gone through with the kiss. Shen Qinghan's cherry lips looked so soft and pink, surely they would feel amazing to kiss, and she really wanted to try. Lu Juanwu looked at Song Yuan and said in annoyance, what's with you, still joking around at your age? If you want to kiss that badly, go find a man and fall in love. Then you can kiss however you want, wherever you want. Don't scare King Han by acting like some love-starved woman. Song Yuan was dismissive. What's the fun in having a boyfriend? It's better to be single, not having to consider someone else's emotions. I can do whatever I want. Lu Chuanyu retorted, you just have standards that are too high for your own capabilities. You dismiss the average, only fantasizing about the perfect prince in your head, giggling like a fool every day at the male actors on TV shows. Song Yuan discontentedly replied, Principal, your words are so hurtful. Lu Chuanyu said, lies will not hurt, but the truth is like a sharp knife. Song Yuan waved her hand dismissively, forget it, I'm done talking to you. Just a couple more words with you would take at least 10 years off my life. Every sentence Lu Chuanyu uttered was a critical hit to her. She couldn't take it anymore and chose to avoid further confrontation. Retreating might be shameful, but it works. Lu Chuanyu stopped paying attention to the great spirit saintess, Song Yuan. He then turned to look at Lin Zikan and Shen King Han, stroking his graying beard as he said. Since both of you have evolved into high-level creatures, while there's still time tonight, I'll take you to see that bronze ancient coffin. Just recently, the ancient coffin turned green again, exuding vitality, so it's worth trying to communicate with the Tianren Pavilion Lord inside the coffin to see if it's possible to unseal and release her. I'll go contact some people now to find you a few escorts. So you don't feel insecure. Having said this, Lu Chuanyu took out his phone and started calling influential people he knew, asking them to escort Lin Zikan to unseal the Tianren Pavilion Lord. He had already spoken to these people months ago. Now, all he needed to do was inform them and see who was available to provide escort. The number you have dialed is not answering. The number you have dialed is switched off. The number you have dialed beep beep beep. Lu Chuanyu made over 10 calls in a row, but none of them connected. The influential people he knew had all seemingly vanished off the face of the earth and could not be contacted. Strange, why can't I get through to anyone? 1 or 2, maybe, but over 10 in a row? That's just too odd. Muttering to himself, Lu Chuanyu suddenly remembered the phone call Yuan Dongji received that day. Could they all have gone to defend the origin land from an invasion? Oh no, that must be it. They must have all gone into the origin land. Frowning, Lu Chuanyu then turned to Lin Zikan and said, Ziai Chen, I can't find any escorts for tonight, so let's postpone our visit for another day. At the end of the year, the bronze ancient coffin will turn green again. I'll take you there then. It isn't even June yet. Waiting until the end of the year means another half a year to go. After thinking for a moment, Lin Zikan said, Principal, why don't we just go tonight? Waiting until the end of the year is too long, and it's fine if there are no escorts. He thought, with his danger perception, if he truly encountered danger, he could flee at the first moment, so there was nothing to worry about. Lu Chuanyu listened to him, stroked his beard, and nodded, then let's go tonight. The turmoil in the origin land will last at least a year or two. By the end of the year, we might not even be able to wait for someone to come as an escort. Just like that. The two quickly reached an agreement and set out for the location of the bronze ancient coffin, the Li family mansion. Shen Qinghan and Song Yuan also went with them. As for Ma Ziwei, first, she was not here. Second, she was too much of a newbie, having only recently joined the Tianren Pavilion and started on the pure-blood human path. The four of them hadn't fully accepted her yet. Therefore, none of them thought of asking her to join. Origin Land number 36. The city stronghold. The outskirts. The high-level creature that served as the city lord of number 36, leading a large group of powerful fighters against the incoming army of exotic beasts. The exotic beasts attacking Origin Land number 36 were a vast swarm of dark, oppressive magic rock giants. Each of these magic rock giants was as large as a small hill, with an average height of over 30 meters. The leader among them, the Elephant King, was an even more exaggerated 100 meters tall. Every step it took caused a terrifying tremor, as if the earth and mountains were shaking. Boom! A fearsome sound of tearing through the air exploded. The Elephant King swung its tusks, dozens of meters long, fiercely toward the crowd below, intending to crush those earthlings blocking its herd into a pulp. Just as its tusks were about to hit those people, the city lord of number 36 acted in time, controlling a giant hand made of sand and rock, and with a motion that blotted out the sun, it slapped down at the Elephant King. Quickly! With a thunderous boom, the giant hand smacked down on the tusk of the Elephant King, instantly breaking the strength of the S-grade alloy-like trunk into two pieces. The powerful impact even sent the 100-meter-tall Elephant King flying. After flying several miles away, it crashed heavily to the ground, creating a shocking, web-like series of cracks. A large group of ghost eye magic eagles is speeding towards the city from the western sky. Those skilled in flight control, move quickly to intercept. The city lord of number 36 shouted this and immediately rushed toward the Elephant King to finish it off. Upon hearing this, several powerful fighters on the battlefield instantly turned into streaks of light that shot upwards, flying rapidly towards the western sky to intercept the flock of ghost eye magic eagles. Yuan Dongji, who had only entered the origin land yesterday, was one of these powerful fighters. Capture the ringleader to catch his followers, Principal Yuan, follow me and let's strike down that Eagle King first. A leader from city number 36, a man with a beard-stubbled face, bellowed to Yuan Dongji. Yuan Dongji didn't bother with idle talk and immediately, with a thought, controlled the underground water source from below, and took to the sky alongside the leader to assail the 20-meter-long Eagle King. Half an hour later, the epic-level Elephant King, grievously wounded by its peer, the city lord of number 36, was forced to flee with its herd, abandoning the attack on city number 36 for the time being. The rare-level Eagle King, slain jointly by Yuan Dongji and the leader. Everyone, follow me to charge and exterminate these damned exotic beasts. A bloodied deputy city lord shouted out loud. Hearing this call, the city lord of number 36 immediately shouted back, "Do not pursue them, clear the battlefield quickly, and return to the city." His only mission was to defend the creature passageway underlying the city in Origin Land number 36 and not allow the creatures of Origin Land to retake control. Apart from that, he had no need to overextend himself with other matters. Hearing the city lord's shout, everyone ceased their pursuit. They began clearing the battlefield, collecting spoils of war, then returned to the city to rest and resupply, preparing to face the next attack from the exotic beasts army. P.S. Begging for your monthly pass votes. Chapter 347, 211. Tianren Pavilion Lord emerges from coffin. Twisted Valley. At a glance, everywhere were strangely shaped, twisted plants. Giant trees with trunks full of writhing blood vessels. Vines winding like snakes. Wild flowers sticky with numerous insect corpses. The entire valley exuded an eerie strangeness. You all stay on the perimeter, responsible for striking down any heretics escaping from inside, understood? At the valley's edge, a man with 6 feather-covered wings on his back spoke loudly to the group of young men and women before him. The moment his voice fell, the young men and women immediately responded. Understood. 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 Voices followed one after another, everyone responding with military discipline. Except for a girl with snow-white hair. She wore a white martial arts uniform, holding a red tasseled spear taller than herself, silently standing alone under a tree, not uttering a word. From a distance, she resembled an exquisitely carved wooden statue. The 6-winged man glanced at her. Saw her face showed no reaction, and he couldn't help but shake his head. Living in a human stronghold for 11 years. Still silent and reserved, like a mute. Such prolonged inability to assimilate mostly indicated non-acceptance, suggesting that she might betray them one day. A different kind at heart will surely think differently. Never mind, it's not for me to consider. The higher UPS have their own plans. Being just a mere deputy city lord, why should I worry so much? Thinking thus, the six-winged man shouted to the others, "Everyone, follow me into the valley, let's slaughter those divine plant cult beasts." As soon as he finished speaking, he spread his 6-meter-wide wings and soared instantaneously to 100 meters in the air, leading a group of rare-level fighters both from land and air into the valley's interior. He, as the Deputy City Lord number 36. His mission this time was to destroy a divine plant cult branch nesting in Twisted Valley. Additionally, to train the 28 listed alien human-level geniuses, accelerating their growth. After Deputy City Lord number 36 led his men into the valley, the remaining 28 alien human-level geniuses, all armed, held their positions tightly at the valley's entrance. As time passed, finding just standing there too boring, they began to chat with each other to pass the time. "I heard that all strongholds are being attacked by armies of exotic beasts. All the Earth's powerful individuals have entered the origin land to assist in defending. It's mostly the divine plant cult's doing, I'd bet. This divine plant cult is really troublesome, no matter how many you kill, they just never seem to end. Of course it's troublesome, God knows how many human high-ranking officials are actually heretics of the divine plant cult, wouldn't even be surprised if a province lord turns out a traitor one day. Ah Kong, please think before you speak, don't just blurt out anything." Luo Kyungsu leaned against a tree, silently staring at the valley's entrance. She didn't join in the casual chats, but listened to others chatting. When she heard that all of Earth's strong individuals had entered the origin land, a fleeting emotion flashed across her expressionless, cold beautiful face. She missed Yuan Dongji deeply, wanting to see her master who had rescued her from the snowy mountains years ago. "There's movement, everyone get ready for battle." Suddenly, a young man with ears several times larger than normal, gripping his weapon, shouted aloud. His exceptional hearing, despite being thousands of meters away, detected several high-energy entities rapidly heading towards the valley's entrance. Hearing this, everyone stopped chatting and immediately switched to combat mode. Their chi blood became incredibly vital, poised and ready to burst forth. Ready to unleash their most powerful strike that would severely wound or even kill an enemy. "Watch your feet!" the large-eared young man loudly warned everyone. The next second, numerous thick vines burst forth from the ground, aggressively attacking the gathered geniuses. At the same time, several figures dashed out of the valley's entrance, taking advantage of the geniuses busy dealing with the vines, moving as fast as possible to flee far away. "There are divine plant cult traitors escaping, don't let them get away." Someone spotted the fleeing heretics coming from inside the valley and immediately shouted a warning. However, the warning was of no use. At that moment, everyone was entangled by the vines, unable to act quickly enough to stop them, only able to watch helplessly as the heretics escaped. Just when everyone thought the heretics would get away, suddenly, large patches of ice blossoms spread from under Luo Kyungsu's feet. These ice blossoms appeared and surged at an invisible speed towards the escaping heretics. In just the blink of an eye, they were frozen into statues of ice, unable to move. Seeing this, amazement appeared on everyone's faces, a deep sense of powerlessness welling up within them. Too strong. Only 19 years old. Only possessing a high-level 5th-order biological level. And yet, she hadn't even integrated an exotic beast gene. But the power she demonstrated far surpassed her age, far surpassed her biological level, far surpassed any peer of the same rank who was a genetic integrator. Luo Kyungsu was truly a monster in human skin. Given time, she might freeze miles in a mere thought, with potential reaching beyond the heavens. Li Family Mansion. Garage entrance. A car worth tens of millions sped from afar. Just as it neared the garage entrance, it drifted in spectacularly, entering the remotely lifted garage gate. Soon, 4 people got out of the car. It was Lin Zikan, Shen Qinghan, Lu Juanwu, and Song Yuan. Chapter 348, 211. Tianren Pavilion Lord emerges from coffin _2. Song Yuan started retching as soon as she got out of the car, saying with a pained expression, "Director, were you driving so fast because you're rushing to be reincarnated? You almost made me throw up." Lu Juanwu responded, "Just throw up, it's like getting a head start on morning sickness. You're at the age to become a mother anyway." Song Yuan was fed up and retorted, "Director, can you change the subject from urging me to find a boyfriend or become a mother in 9 out of 10 sentences? I'm not your daughter, you're overstepping your boundaries. Don't you find that annoying?" Song Yuan grew increasingly dissatisfied, feeling like she wanted to punch Lu Juanwu. Lu Juanwu didn't care whether she was satisfied or not, and just said, "A girl in her 20s is far from being my daughter, at most she could be my granddaughter. No, a great-granddaughter would be more accurate. After all, I'm almost 100 years old." Lu Juanwu stroked his white beard, emphasizing his age. "Almost 100 years old and still able to perform 7 times a night. And can fight from night till the next morning. Am I, Lu Juanwu, impressive or what?" Song Yuan did not think he was impressive, she just found him disrespectful in his old age and scoffed, "Eh, grandpa? You're more like a dirty old man." As the two bantered back and forth, Lin Zikan dispersed his spiritual power, spreading it throughout the entire Li family mansion, scanning every corner in a sweeping glance. The old mansion, which looked to be 100 years old, had a massive floor area of tens of thousands of square meters. Inside there was a garden, a swimming pool, a private movie theater, an independent training room, and so on. But most of it was in disuse. Dust was everywhere. The walls were covered with all sorts of vines. After sensing the surface areas, Lin Zikan's spiritual power delved further, permeating into the basement beneath the mansion. In the basement, he sensed a large number of ancient books and relics. The quantity was far greater than the piles in the corner of the research institute. As his sense continued to deepen, soon, Lin Zikan saw a coffin at the very back of the basement. The top was oval-shaped, the bottom flat, and the whole was a lush green. The surface was edged with mysterious and unknown runes. It resembled an emerald, round-arched door carved with patterns, found in ancient royal courtyards. And this was precisely the bronze ancient coffin that Lu Juanwu had been talking about. Lin Zikan had seen the bronze ancient coffin in photos and recognized it at once. He was curious about the Tianren Pavilion Lord lying inside the coffin, and without much thought, he extended his spiritual power into the coffin. He wanted to see what this legendary Tianren Pavilion Lord looked like. Unfortunately, despite several attempts, it was no use. The spiritual power emanated could not penetrate it. Every time he just touched the bronze ancient coffin, the spiritual power was repelled immediately. He couldn't even touch it, let alone spread into it. Bone age not even 20, biological level already as high level 4th order, and spiritual strength and chi blood strength are in sync. In this world scarce in resources, to achieve this is no mean feat. You truly are a rare genius. Suddenly, Lin Zikan heard such a calm female voice in his mind. She was speaking modern Zhuzhu language. The voice sounded somewhat weak. Lin Zikan was startled by this sudden voice and momentarily froze. Then he quickly realized that it was the Tianren Pavilion Lord inside the bronze ancient coffin speaking. To be more precise, it was psychic communication. Thinking this, Lin Zikan turned to Lu Juanwu and said, "Director, the Pavilion Lord inside the bronze ancient coffin just communicated with me psychically." Psychic communication. Lu Juanwu looked surprised, then asked, "What did the Pavilion Lord say to you?" Lin Zikan summarized, "She said that it's rare to be as strong as I am on Earth, which is scarce in resources, and that I am a rare genius." Lu Juanwu was even more astonished. "She said so much to you?" Lin Zikan, "Yes. Lu Chuanyu found it hard to believe. As far as I remember, the Pavilion Lord's state is quite poor, and she barely musters an MHM before she needs to rest and go back into hibernation when speaking with me. Song Yuan chimed in, surely the Pavilion Lord became spirited because she sensed the intensity of the qi blood in Zi Chen, and it revitalized her completely. The reason she only says MHM to you before needing to sleep is probably because she finds talking to you too tiring and doesn't want to converse with you. Lu Chuanyu couldn't help but twitch at the corner of his mouth listening to this. Yuan really was petty. Was it necessary to be so sarcastic just because I told her to hurry up and find a man to marry? Couldn't she learn to be magnanimous like me? After mentally complaining, Lu Chuanyu said to Lin Zikan, come on, Zi Chen, let's go see the Pavilion Lord quickly before she overexerts herself and falls back into hibernation. Having said this, he walked briskly toward the basement. Lin Zikan quickly followed suit. Shen Qinghan and Song Yuan closely followed behind. In just a moment, the group arrived at the underground chamber where the bronze ancient coffin was located. The chamber was dimly lit and silent at that time. But it was filled with a boundless vitality. It gave off a wondrous sense of rebirth to everything. Lu Chuanyu took a step forward and respectfully said to the bronze ancient coffin, Pavilion Master, can you hear my voice? A weak voice came from inside the bronze ancient coffin. Lin Zikan listened to this voice and compared it with the one that had resonated in his mind just before, finding them exactly alike, with no difference whatsoever. This proved that it was indeed the Tianren Pavilion Lord who had been communicating spiritually in his mind. Spiritual communication. What kind of technique is this? Is it a method related to spiritual power? Once the Tianren Pavilion Lord has fully revived, perhaps I can ask her for guidance, Lin Zikan thought to himself. As he pondered these things, Lu Chuanyu, standing in front, once again spoke with great respect, Pavilion Master, these three are the young talents I mentioned to you before. This one is Song Yuan, age 29, has achieved body tempering great accomplishment twice, biological level ordinary 9th order. This one is Shen Qinghan, age 19, has achieved body tempering great accomplishment 3 times, biological level high level 1st order. This one is Lin Zikan, age 19, has achieved body tempering great accomplishment 5 times, biological level high level 4th order. There was silence inside the bronze ancient coffin. No response came. After waiting for a while, seeing that the bronze ancient coffin remained deadly quiet, Lu Chuanyu couldn't help but his expression changed slightly. This is bad. Could the Pavilion Master have fallen into dormancy? At that moment, the voice of the Tianren Pavilion Lord came from the bronze ancient coffin once more. Lin Zikan, my body is extremely weak at present, I need you to transmit some of your qi blood to help me recover. In return, I will do my best to satisfy any request you might have. Are you willing to transmit your blood qi power to me? As he heard what the Tianren Pavilion Lord was saying, Lin Zikan's attention was almost entirely focused on danger perception, constantly monitoring the status of this biometric attribute. This ability, which could foresee danger, hadn't reacted at all from beginning to end. That meant the Tianren Pavilion Lord bore him no ill will. With this thought, Lin Zikan gathered all his thoughts and without hesitation said, as a member of the Tianren Pavilion, I'm willing to offer my blood qi power to the Pavilion Master unconditionally. Unconditionally? It was just a play on words to curry favor. What's offered freely is the most costly of all. Very well, once I have recovered, I will keep my promise and satisfy any demand you have, continued the voice from the bronze ancient coffin. Now come to the front of the coffin, and I will teach you how to transfer your qi blood. All right. Lin Zikan agreed, and then casually walked towards the bronze ancient coffin. While walking, he kept his attention fixed on danger perception. If anything seemed amiss, he'd be out of there immediately. Pavilion Master, Shen Qinghan is also a high-level creature, she too can transfer her qi blood to you, Lu Chuanyu reminded. The voice from the bronze ancient coffin came again, "There's no need for hers." Upon hearing this, Shen Qinghan's long eyelashes couldn't help but flutter. Why way? It seems I've been rejected. Uncomfortable. As Shen Qinghan felt uncomfortable, Lin Zikin had already reached the front of the bronze ancient coffin and stopped. Danger perception had no reaction. It was very reassuring. "Place your hand on the center of the lid, then expel the qi blood," the Tianren Pavilion Lord instructed calmly from the coffin. Lin Zikin didn't speak, but simply placed his hand at the center of the lid. Subsequently, he began expelling qi blood as the Tianren Pavilion Lord had instructed. P.S. Bowls out, seeking monthly pass and recommendation tickets. Chapter 349, 212, Tianren Pavilion Lord emerges from the coffin. Twin light yin-yang fruit. In a flash, a dense power of blood qi surged from the palm of Lin Zikin. It appeared in wisps and strands, flowing toward the coffin lid beneath his palm. The moment it came into contact with the blood qi, the runes on the surface of the ancient coffin immediately emitted a faint red light. As more blood qi made contact, the red light on the runes grew increasingly dazzling. Seeing these runes on the ancient coffin, Lin Zikin couldn't help but recall the runes he had seen in the coastal forest that day, which had formed from droplets of water swirling around Shen Qinghan. The era of the Tianren Pavilion Lord was very distant from the present. Perhaps she recognized those runes of Han Han's. He'd have to find an opportunity to ask about it later. He was just pondering this when suddenly, Lin Zikin noticed that the blood qi in his body was rapidly depleting. It was a passive draining, not an active release. The bronze ancient coffin beneath his palm, after absorbing the blood qi Lin Zikin had released, began actively drawing the blood qi from inside Lin Zikin's body. The absorption was swift. Like a black hole, it nearly sucked away half of Lin Zikin's blood qi in an instant. With so much blood qi lost so quickly, Lin Zikin felt a bit unwell, a feeling of weakness similar to that of just having finished tempering his body. The bronze ancient coffin before him, more precisely the Tianren Pavilion Lord within, was really too greedy. It drew quickly and fiercely. Like a wife who hadn't seen her husband for years displaying an insatiable demeanor. Upon seeing this, Lin Zikin slightly furrowed his brow. But he did not stop transmitting his blood qi. He silently took out a high-level revitalization pill from his storage space and stealthily popped it into his mouth to replenish his blood qi. Fortified by the revitalization pill, Lin Zikin felt much better. Let the Tianren Pavilion Lord draw as much as she wanted. As long as she didn't drain him dry all at once, it would be fine. Just like that. Lin Zikin continued to ingest revitalization pills while allowing the Tianren Pavilion Lord in the bronze ancient coffin to absorb. Seeing that several minutes had passed, Shen Qinghan couldn't help but say with a worried expression, "Director, it's been so long, why hasn't the transmission completed yet? If this continues, Chen might suffer physical harm due to excessive loss of blood qi." "It's fine, both the Lord and Chen know what they're doing, and as long as they can continue, it means there's no large issue," Lu Chuanwu said reassuringly. Shen Qinghan was still worried, but said no more. She just quietly watched Lin Zikin, keeping an eye on his physical condition. If she detected something wrong with his body, she was ready to step in and rescue him immediately. In front of the bronze ancient coffin, Lin Zikin took out 3 high-level revitalization pills and tossed them into his mouth, replenishing the increasingly fast depleting blood qi within his body. Grumbling inwardly, this Tianren Pavilion Lord was really too greedy. Almost 10 minutes had passed since the transmission started, yet she was still not sated and continued to fiercely draw. It was ironic that before drawing she used to ask so politely whether one was willing to be drawn upon, yet became so unreasonable once the process began. It felt like she was just rubbing around the surface without going in. Clearly, the Tianren Pavilion Lord was a master of seductive platitudes. Thinking about all these random things. In the blink of an eye, 20 minutes had passed. At that point, the runes on the bronze ancient coffin slowly dimmed down. Stopped absorbing the blood chi from Lin Zikin's body. She must have been satiated. Then, with a series of thick, coarse frictional noises, the lid of the bronze ancient coffin suddenly moved. Seeing this, Lin Zikin immediately removed his hand from the lid, taking a few steps back. His eyes remained tightly fixed on the bronze ancient coffin, curious and expectant of what was to come next. The three people behind him did the same, watching the bronze ancient coffin unblinkingly. However, after waiting for quite some time, there was no further movement from the bronze ancient coffin. It did not rise from the coffin as expected so quickly. If nothing else, it likely needed some time to revive. Seeing that the bronze ancient coffin remained still for a long time, Shen Qinghan walked lightly to Lin Zikin's side. She tiptoed, bringing her cherry lips close to Lin Zikin's ear, being very gentle so as not to disturb the Tianren Pavilion Lord inside the coffin, and softly asked with concern. "How do you feel? Are you very uncomfortable?" Lin Zikin had been drained by the Tianren Pavilion Lord for nearly half an hour, and she was worried about the serious damage to Lin Zikin's body. "It's all right, I just need to rest for a while." As he said this, Lin Zikin's gaze never left the bronze ancient coffin for a second. About half a minute later, the bronze ancient coffin moved. The coffin, which had been lying flat, suddenly stood up on its own. Like an upright fridge, its covered side now faced directly toward the four people in front of it. Following that, the thick lid slowly shifted away. Accompanied by a wave of ancient fragrance, a woman dressed in a Taoist robe, slowly emerged from the bronze ancient coffin. Her hair draped over her shoulders, reaching her waist, her face was a beautifully lined oval shape, with deep eyes, a high and delicate nose, and lips that were sexy and moist like a peach dewy with morning mist, highly enticing. Looking lower, the loose Taoist robe she wore already showed signs of decay, seeming as though it could be torn into pieces with just a gentle tug, revealing a pure white body. Yet, despite the robe's decay, she still exuded an air of an ethereal Taoist, reminiscent of the immortal gods from mythological novels. Lin Zikin did not admire the beauty of the Tianren Pavilion Lord, his focus entirely on her decaying loose Taoist robe. He thought, as the progenitor of the blood tempering technique, the status of the Tianren Pavilion Lord must be extremely high. And with a high status, the clothing she wore must definitely be of high quality. Chapter 350, 212, Tianren Pavilion Lord emerges from the coffin. Twin light yin yang fruit, _2. Even, it might be a treasure of immeasurable worth. It itself was a treasure, and it was preserved in a bronze ancient coffin with anti-corrosion measures. Normally, even after a few thousand or tens of thousands of years, it should have been preserved intact. However, the Taoist robe worn by the person in front of him, the Tianren Pavilion Lord, was already so decayed that it looked as if it would tear apart at the slightest touch. It was imaginable how long she had lain in the bronze ancient coffin. It was estimated to be measured in epochs. Lin Zikin didn't dwell much on this point and quickly used danger perception to probe the Tianren Pavilion Lord's biological level, attempting to discern the level of her existence. Then, as expected, he couldn't perceive anything. Without a second thought, it was clear that the Tianren Pavilion Lord's level was extremely high, beyond the reach of danger perception to probe her biological level. Meanwhile, Qi Qingmo, standing in front of the bronze ancient coffin, sensed someone probing her biological level. Following the direction from which the perception came, she raised her eyes to look ahead at Lin Zikin and murmured with slightly parted red lips, "A mere high level and you dare to recklessly probe others' biological levels. Admirable courage." She had actually noticed? Lin Zikin's eyes widened, surprised. He immediately ceased using danger perception, lest he provoke the unknowably powerful Tianren Pavilion Lord to displeasure. Qi Qingmo was not displeased. Her remark was intended for Lin Zikin's benefit, not as a displeasure to warn him. "President Liu, how many members do we currently have in Tianren Pavilion?" Qi Qingmo asked Lu Juanyu. Her manner of speaking was modernized, not as literary as one might imagine. This was a result of her willingness to adapt to the local customs following numerous interactions with Lu Juanyu over the past years. Lu Juanyu respectfully replied, including you, Pavilion Lord, there are 6 of us in total. Only 6? That seems too few. Qi Qingmo muttered softly, then continued to ask, didn't the remaining person come? Lu Juanyu answered, she didn't come, she's just joined Tianren Pavilion a few days ago and hasn't fully integrated yet, so I didn't bring her. Qi Qingmo nodded in understanding and didn't pursue further questions. She simply said to the 4, you should all be very proficient in the early physical training stage of the blood tempering technique by now. Now, I will impart to you the orifice opening method. Having said this, she raised her delicate jade hand, and to the baffled look of the 4, flicked her finger towards each of their foreheads, shotting a beam of light into them. The moment the light entered their foreheads, Lin Zikin acutely perceived something abruptly penetrate in, continuously thrusting back and forth at the position of his forehead, causing tremendous discomfort. Fortunately, the sense of discomfort didn't last long. As his brain vibrated inexplicably, everything soon became uninteresting. In its place, a foreign memory emerged in the depths of his mind. Lin Zikin concentrated and read through this foreign memory. Indeed, as Qi Qingmo had said, it was the orifice opening method from the latter part of the blood tempering technique. After a brief moment of reading, Lin Zikin found that the orifice opening method given by Qi Qingmo bore a striking resemblance to the ad hoc method developed by Shen Qinghan. Shen Qinghan's method consisted of 9 shallow and 1 deep impact, 9 spirit impacts of lighter intensity, 1 qi blood impact of heavy intensity, targeting an A-cup ointment located near the heart. However, Qi Qingmo just imparted 3 types of orifice opening methods, corresponding to the heart aperture, brain aperture, and body aperture. 1. The method to open the heart aperture, condense the qi blood into a needle shape, using 10 cycles, with intensity escalating from lighter to heavier to impact the A-cup ointment. 2. The method to open the brain aperture, condense the spirit into a needle shape, using 3 cycles, with intensity escalating from lighter to heavier to impact the A-cup ointment. 3. The method to open the body aperture, condense both qi blood and spirit into needle shapes, using 4 cycles. The first 2 consist of alternating light and heavy qi blood impacts, followed by 2 of alternating light and heavy spirit impacts. Frankly speaking, the orifice opening method is essentially a matter of impacting rhythm. It is easy to understand at a glance, without any difficulty. If there's any difficulty to speak of, it exists only in the cultivation threshold. It must be practiced by a pure-blood human. Moreover, the physical talent of this pure-blood human needed to be strong enough, otherwise, he couldn't even condense his qi blood and spirit into a needle-like shape, let alone open his acupoints. Let alone opening acupoints, he might not even cope with the initial phase of body tempering. Currently, each of the 5 members of the Pure Human Research Institute possessed extremely strong physical talents, far surpassing ordinary humans. Lu Juanyu was born into a martial arts family. Song Yuyin was the second ranked in the capital city's college entrance exams. Ma Ziwei ranked 4th in the capital city's college entrance exams. As for Lin Zikin, to say his physical talent was the best in the world was no exaggeration. And Shen Qinghan, though his physical strength was not outstanding, possessed a special physique, naturally making it easier for him to manipulate qi blood. Coupled with his high spiritual strength, he perfectly stumbled into being suitable for practicing the blood tempering technique. As compensation for just supplying qi blood, this twin light yin-yang fruit is yours, consuming it will greatly enhance both your qi blood and spirit. Qi Qingmo magically produced a black and white fruit from his sleeve, flashed in front of Lin Zikin, and handed the fruit over while saying. Lin Zikin was shocked in his heart. He had not noticed at all how Qi Qingmo had teleported there. He saw no trace of the teleportation at all. It was unknown whether Qi King Mo's speed of teleportation was too fast for his eyes to capture at this strength. Or if Qi King Mo hadn't really teleported as imagined, but instead performed a direct spatial transfer. Take it. Seeing Lin Zikan blankly staring and not moving to take the fruit, Qi King Mo urged him. Alerted by his words, Lin Zikan quickly reached out to take the fruit, saying, "Thank you, Pavilion Lord. No need to thank me, this is compensation, not a reward." Having said that, Qi King Mo teleported again, instantly returning to the bronze ancient coffin. This time, Lin Zikan still couldn't catch any trace of the Tianren Pavilion Lord's teleportation. Qi King Mo touched the bronze ancient coffin. The next second, the bronze ancient coffin vanished on the spot, leaving only a clean square patch of ground without any dust. "I still have matters to attend to, so I will take my leave first, I will come to find you later." Having dropped this line, Qi King Mo's figure flashed in front of them, disappearing without a trace. Where did he go? The four of them were stunned, not understanding how Qi King Mo could vanish into thin air. Lin Zikan quickly reacted, immediately spreading his spiritual power to cover a 1,000-meter radius within his perception. Then, he carefully searched for Qi King Mo's presence. After searching for nearly 10 seconds and even scouring nearly 100 meters deep underground, he still saw no sign of Qi King Mo. The man had completely disappeared as if he never existed. "President Lu, do you know what level of expert the Pavilion Lord is? I feel like she is incredibly powerful." Song Yuan asked Lu Chuanwu. Lu Chuanwu shook his head, "You've got me there, I don't know exactly how high the Pavilion Lord's biological level is." After saying that, he added, "From the strength the Pavilion Lord just displayed, I guess she is at least an epic level expert, or perhaps even a legendary level expert is not impossible." A legendary level expert? Song Yuan felt that was unlikely and said, "That's on the same level as a province lord, which seems too exaggerated." Lu Chuanwu disagreed, "What's so exaggerated about that? I even think the Pavilion Lord could be a mythical level expert who is omnipotent." Song Yuan, "President, now you're getting even more outrageous, that's pure glorifying the past over the present." Lu Chuanwu stroked his beard and said, "It's not me glorifying the past, it's all of human history that glorifies the past over the present. Looking at the records in the ruins, in that ancient era, the proportion of humans among the immortal gods was the highest, and the most powerful of the immortal gods were humans. What of dragons and phoenixes, Kun Peng? They were all human-dominated mounts." At this point, Lu Chuanwu asked Song Yuan, "Do you still think I'm glorifying the past?" Song Yuan didn't answer but fell into deep thought. Lin Zikan also fell into deep thought. Hearing Lu Chuanwu's words, he pondered what era Qi King Mo belonged to and what that era was like. Was it truly an era where immortal gods were omnipresent? Was it like those mythological stories where gods could pluck the stars and capture the moon? P.S. Setting down the bowl, seeking monthly pass and recommendation votes.